2%. That's the percentage of your income you should be paying in car insurance, according to the U.S. Treasury Department. That's the amount they say is affordable.
Yet a recent University of Michigan study says that in 97% of Michigan zip codes, it's above that. Often way above that. In some parts of Michigan, auto insurance eats up 36% of average income. So more than a third of your income on just car insurance. Not the car, just the insurance.
As we've noted many times here on this show, car insurance is the most expensive in the nation right here in Michigan. And a newly increased fee would push these costs even higher. We're going to talk about that today with Bobby Raitt, an expert on Michigan's no-fault auto insurance system and a principal at Michigan Auto Law. Jer, you live in Detroit. You've got some experience dealing with the high cost of auto insurance in Michigan.
That's right. My last insurance quote, no points, no fault insurance, living in the city of Detroit, was more than $350 a month.
The bright spot, if you can call it that, is there are areas where we pay just double or triple what the government defines as affordable.
But the only places that get so-called affordable car insurance, they're the zip codes with the very highest incomes.
It's Thursday, March 28th, 2019, and welcome to Your Daily Detroit. I'm Sven Gustafson.
And I'm Jer Stays. On Wednesday, Governor Gretchen Whitmer asked the state's insurance regulator to audit the Michigan Catastrophic Claims Association. That's after it announced it was increasing the fee tacked on to every auto insurance policy by nearly 15%, or $28. Starting in July, that boosts the fee to $220 per insured vehicle. The MCCA says it faces a deficit estimated at $3.9 billion to pay existing medical claims. Whitmer says it's time to do something about Michigan's highest in the nation auto insurance rates.
To wade through all of this, we spoke with Bobby Raitt, a principal at Michigan Auto Law in Farmington Hills. They're persistent critics of auto insurance companies, and they're well-versed in Michigan's no-fault auto insurance system. Here's that conversation. What exactly is the Michigan Catastrophic Claims Association, and what exactly is this fee that they just increased?
What the Michigan Catastrophic Claims Association is an organization that oversees catastrophic claims that are made to insurance companies across the state. So when you pay your insurance premiums, part of that premium is a dollar figure that goes to the Michigan Catastrophic Claims Association, allowing them to kind of administrate. And what we see at the attorney level, for those that represent individuals injured in auto collisions, is we see bad cases, meaning serious injury cases, that are really the best way to say it is Michigan Catastrophic Claims Association takes over at some point, regulating, administrating, and overseeing cases brought by individuals. So that's why when you pay your premiums, that's why a small portion goes towards the Michigan Catastrophic Claims Association. The problem we have is that no one knows how much money the Michigan Catastrophic Claims Association or the MCCA is making. Nobody knows about the claims they're paying out because for years now, although it's been requested that they open up their books, show us exactly what they're doing and what they're overseeing and how much money they're keeping and how much money they're paying out, they have refused to do that. So that's why we're where we're at.
Right, and I understand they are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, there's some debate about that, but clearly they say they are. And most recently, we've seen that they've once again tried to increase the amount that they are going to be getting on everybody's insurance premiums. And that's why the governor just came out and said, enough is enough. I want an audit done. I want to see exactly what's going on. Because the conventional wisdom amongst people that handle automobile collision cases, and whether you're talking about individuals that handle insurance claims for their clients or simply injury cases and therefore have to fall under the insurance, is that they are taking in lots and lots and lots of money. And because they only pay out and administer the most serious cases, that they are holding on to a lot of that. And if we could see exactly what's going on, then part of this problem that's been going on for years with premiums that are out of whack is that we could get money back, we could take money away, and we could help solve that problem in and of itself by kind of overseeing, and in this case, auditing the MCCA.
You mentioned this notion that they may be taking in a lot of money and sort of keeping it. Governor Whitmer has suggested that the fee could be tied to the Catastrophic Claims Association missing its investment returns projection from Wall Street. What do you make of that claim?
I don't know, and that's the problem, because, I mean, when I say the conventional wisdom is, that's all it is, because we've never been able to see, and when I say we, anybody, even the insurance companies that they oversee, has never been able to see exactly what type of investments they're making, exactly what kind of money they're bringing in, and most importantly, what kind of money they're paying out. When you handle a case in this state for an injured individual and that person reaches a certain threshold, it's gone up every year, the MCCA gets involved at that point and they make the calls. So while the general person who gets in a collision understands that an insurance company may get an attorney to represent their interests, that attorney and that insurance company has their hands tied at some point when a significant amount of money is paid out and the Catastrophic Claims Association takes over. And it makes it very difficult to process claims. It makes it very difficult to settle claims. And more importantly, no one knows whether that fund is well-funded, if it's overfunded, and what kind of investments they're making. And so that's why, once again, an audit is so long in coming. And I was very happy to hear that that's the route we're going to be going, because we're going to find out a lot of information.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, I mean, do you think that this audit by the Michigan Department of Insurance and Financial Services, will it accomplish anything, do you think? Because they've done audits of the MCCA before, right?
Well, I don't know that they've done the type of audit that we're talking about here. I don't know exactly what's been done in the past. Like I talked to you a little bit before we started, I've been involved in some way, shape, or form, talking to the insurance industry, talking to legislators about the no-fault system, the problems that we are seeing with the no-fault system, and the overriding problem now that we see, which is that the premiums have gotten to be so astronomical for certain residents, most namely, and the most well advertised is the city of Detroit, that we've always known that if we could start by seeing exactly what's going on with the Catastrophic Claims Association, we would have a good basis to understand what else we need to do to tweak the system to keep its great right for the motorists of the state, but by the same token, do things, make changes that are necessary. But we've always thought that if we start with the association, if we start with this, huge pot, and we decide, after that what we still need to do, it would be the best way to go. It's just we've never really done an audit. We've never really opened up their books, seen what was going in, seen what was coming out. And that is what I hope is what the governor can get accomplished. So
you think it's a good place to start, in other words?
I think it's a fabulous place to start. It's always been the problem, though. We've never been able to fully start. And, when you say it has an audit been done, not like this. So that's what we're looking at, and hopefully it gets accomplished.
How much, figuratively speaking, I guess, does this MCCA catastrophic claims fee play into the overall cost of auto insurance here in Michigan? We have the nation's highest auto insurance rates and everything.
Well, the actual amount that you pay in your premium for that is overall it's fairly nominal. It's not a big nut, so to speak. But the problem is that there are so many individuals that are in the dark as to what can be done to reduce those premiums you talk about that are so astronomical and so uneven, quite frankly, that if we first start to see, do we even need to raise it? Now they want to raise this fee. Do we need to pay it? And is there money that can come back out? Because the truth is, if they're sitting on a ton of money and they're not paying out at an equal rate, then the truth is a big portion of the premium problem can be solved if we start there. So it all depends what we find with the audit. I talk all day about the other things, the other areas, the other benefits that motorists get under the no-fault system where we can make some changes that might make a difference with premiums. But it's always been thought, first, shouldn't we know exactly what this group that oversees all of it has and what they do and what they're paying out and what they're holding on to and what they're investing? Makes sense to start there. And I think that no one can really answer the question, what else could be done and what else will be effective, until we know that.
Are there any other actions that Michigan Auto Law, the firm, would advocate for, state regulators or elected officials taking to, try to get a handle on what's driving our rates to be so high?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of issues that go toward the goal of reducing the insurance premiums. But the after you go away from, okay, let's see what the Catastrophic Claims Association has. After we know that, I think that most individuals that have been involved with this issue for years now have seen is that the debate is over whether we should have some type of choice, meaning do we have the ability to choose no-fault insurance versus not having no-fault insurance? And then the debate gets very specific over what would be proper and what would be right and what would be helpful. And once again, the other side of this whole argument, the other side of what is really the problem is, would any of these changes definitively reduce premiums? And I think before anything is put into law, we really have to know the answer to that question. For example, if you just have a system where you can choose whether you have no-fault coverage or not, would that in and of itself reduce premiums? And I don't think that we have seen any evidence to suggest that it definitely would. And if you hear from a lot of the Democrats up in Lansing, they feel that part of any package should have some rate reduction guarantee. And that's probably the biggest overall thing once we get past the Catastrophic Claims Association is, are we going to see meaningful and definitive reductions in premiums with the changes that are made? But because there's so many benefits to the no-fault law, you could tweak, you could change, you could alter things in many, many, many areas. But the bottom line is we want to make sure we're not just doing it pointlessly when it doesn't make the change that we're looking for. Because, this House committee that's been assigned up in Lansing now, their goal is to reduce the premiums. And the Senate Banking Committee has the same type of instruction and marching orders. And it's been involved in Lansing ever since I can remember, and ever since I've been involved with Michigan Auto Law, my law firm, and certainly those that are working in Lansing. And it's never gotten accomplished, and I have my thoughts on that. But I think that if something's going to be done, I think we have the right governor for it right now. I mean, the fact that she is authorizing this audit is huge. I think it's important. I think it's meaningful, and hopefully that's a good starting point.
All right. Bobby Raitt is principal at Michigan Auto Law. He's been working with lawmakers in Lansing on reforming Michigan's auto insurance systems for more than a decade. Bobby, thanks so much for joining us today and helping us break this down.
Thank you for having me.
All right, friends, hope you enjoyed that conversation. Tackling tough topics takes time, research, and effort. So if you appreciate what we're doing, we have one or two things we ask of you. First, tell a friend about Daily Detroit. It's the best way to push Detroit's conversation forward.
And secondly, I strongly believe that media that is funded by the people is always accountable to the people. And so from the beginning, I wanted a portion of our project to be funded by you. Instead of putting a paywall up, we're doing value for value. If you value what we're doing, join us. We do exclusive member updates and, yes, send stickers. If you have a free $1 or $4 to support more in-depth work, stop by dailydetroit.com/join and become a Patreon member.
To close out, it's the end of the week for us, so as usual, some thanks are in order to folks who support us with their time and talents. Thanks to Randy Walker, Cheyenne Noserini, Lisa Meinzinger-Abraham, Spirits Advisor Nuri Gojai, and of course, the folks over at Podcast Detroit. I'm Sven Gustafson.
And I'm Jer Stays. Take care of each other, and we'll see you around Detroit.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.